Some things are supposed to be. And the way God ordered or created man. What makes a man up? You need revelation. It means things has to be made known to you from divine standpoint or perspective. But the fact that they are made known to you from divine perspective does not mean that it's yours. So you need use. You need practice, exercise over time before you gain mastery. Because when you say judgment, it means it's the place, or it's the exactness, or it's the right division. It means if you move it from it away, it tilts. So that's why in justice, it is a balance. Can you see that? It must not swing. You must add equal weight to the two sides to have balance. So to be able to do that, it means that's the last point of answer. As after all we have said, what do we now say? That's judgment. So you need exercise, you need experience. That's why it takes time after they call you to bar to make you a judge. A fresh lawyer cannot be a judge. You must have spent time and they have seen the way you have handled cases before they can begin to give you a place of judgment. So because of that, the life of man is designed in chronology like that. That as a child grows, he's supposed to grow both in nature, grow in the spiritual revelation, work strong in spirit, and all of that, enjoy grace or growth. Then move to a place of increasing in wisdom, in knowledge, all of that over time. And because he's using it, it's multiplying. So, normally from God's standpoint, you need age to attain to judgment. But outside there are some people who are very, very brilliant and sound in judgment. But you see, they cannot take God's judgment. They can have the judgment of men. You find them in all nations of the earth here. You find them in different culture, different religion, wise men. So in leadership of those nations, they look for them, men like Ahithophel, to be close to the kings, to be able to give the king right counsel. So even there, they need age. They may not have become 70, 80 years. When I say age, age means time of learning, time of use, and grace also resting. You need grace for judgment. Then God must endow you with grace. But much learning does not end in judgment. It's not a process of learning. So you need learning. But I'm able to use learning to arrive at wise counsel. It's grace. So you find them like that all over the nation of the earth here. But for the church is a different nation. So that you are a wise man in Ondo State government does not make you a wise man in the spirit. That's where we have the problem. A man who is doing well in business, who is doing well in government, God born again, and actually is a wise man, naturally speaking. But if we bring him over church, he will mess up. Because the judgment of church is not the judgment of the world. He will use the wisdom of this world, wisdom of the leaders of this world, that come to naught. It does not have the wisdom of God that's ordained for our glory, which comes by revelation. God, through Jesus, must make it known to you the way he sees. and the way he arrived at his last point. Okay? So because I'm saying that because some of us will say, but I see someone in my street is a wise man. Each time anything goes bad in the street, you go and call him. And he will set things in place, in place, in place. They are people like that. But you can see a Muslim like that. But he can't advance the kingdom of God. He can't give you counsel unto eternal life. It's impossible. So when you have them in your family and you have them around you, you have to be careful, because their age in the natural can intimidate you. Can even intimidate your own growth. Once he says it in the family, everybody just go and keep quiet. Once he says it, I found you. But once he says, you will need to grow now in the spirit above that stature to be able to lay on counsel from the eternal point view or viewpoint that will inspire that reasoning. So Paul said, not a novice. It must not just be a new convert, no matter where it's coming from. If it's the council of US government, it must not be a novice. It needs age. It needs time. So also in the church, that somebody has revelation, he talks, does not mean that he has judgment. It does not equal to. We studied that during the lockdown. The 7 spirits must have raised you to arrive in judgment. So when you are in church, we should expect that after some age in church, we should expect judgment from you. And judgment does not mean you enforce what you are talking about. When you bring that thought in, it should rest the matter. Paul said some of you take yourself to court. Somebody defraud you. Are you saying the oak of Corinth? There's no judge among you who can judge in least matters. So it means that when you're going to judgment, you start from certain matters. Okay, right? You start in little thing. You don't just go and hold judgment from high matters. No. You start from little matters. From your group, from your house, from your little matters, natural matters. Bring spiritual counsel to judge in those natural matters. Because if you are not using judgment from small things, you can't get to judgment. No, you cannot. You won't be accurate. You must have come to it in little matters. But you need a lot of light to come to judgment. You need to see light. He said, in thy light shall we see light. A man of judgment is not a man who has much light, but a man who sees light. Because nobody has all the light. You see a judge in the court, he listens so much. As the Bible says, be swift to hear, be slow to speak. When you begin to grow in wisdom, you begin to learn how to hear, how to listen. See Jesus at 12. At 12. See the attitude. At 12. Why some of us at 60, they are still making you to see it. That's not in every matter you talk. You listen first. So it means that in 10 years, a believer can make speed. 10 years. After the matter, the Holy Ghost didn't say follow them. Judgment told him, follow them. And he was in subjection to them. So I'm not saying that the way, when I say growth now, does not mean when you start growing white hair in church, right? But it means that you have used speed, you have redeemed the time, you have bought back time, and the instrument is light. See light and light, and in thy light we will see light. In thy light we will see light. In thy light we will see light. So you see light, you see light, you see light, you see light. Then being able to gather light together to take a position, you need practice. So you can see 1 John chapter 1 verse 1. That which was in the beginning, which we have seen, which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes, which we have looked upon, and our hands as handle of the word. We have not handled the whole word of the word. The certain amount of the word that we have handled. So it's not when we receive the whole word, as we hear, as we see, as we look upon, we begin to practice. So practice means that we are interpolating the lights to arrive at wise counsels. So the church should be the house of judgment. So also in the church, that somebody has revelation, he talks, he talks, does not mean that he has judgment. He does not equal to. We studied that during the lockdown. The 7 spirits must have raised you to arrive in judgment. So when you are in church, we should expect that after some age in church, we should expect judgment from you.